Hello and welcome to Stampin' by Hannah. You may recognise this card already. I shared this card on my blog a couple of weeks ago and had quite a few requests to show you how I did the background. So this one uses the Big Day stamp set, which is one of our celebration offerings, but because celebration's nearly over, it might even end today actually. Actually I think it does end today, the day this video goes up, so I thought I would not use a celebration stamp set. So I'm using Hello Darling today because I just love this little floral image and thought it'd be really sweet. So this is the original in Elegant Eggplant, and the one I'm going to do today is in Old Olive and shades of green. So I've got my card base, which is half a piece of A4 folded in half, and my mat of Whisper White, which is a 1/4 of an inch narrower and shorter, and this is the bit that I'm going to use to create this lovely background. So you need 4 ink pads for this. You need the craft white, which we will come to in a second, and 3 colours. I've got Old Olive, Pear Pizzazz and Tempting Turquoise. I'm going to start with the Pear Pizzazz, and I've got 3 of our stamping sponges. This is how I use my sponges. They come as a big round sponge, and I cut them into 6 pieces, and I have I just use my scallop circle, punch a piece of the cardstock out, staple it on the top and write what colour it is, and then I store them all in a tackle box, and my daubers are in there as well, all by colour family. So Pear Pizzazz ink first, and you just want to get colour onto your piece of cardstock. It doesn't really matter how you go about doing this, whether you want to sponge or spritz or use a dauber, or just, it works quite well actually if you just pick the ink pad up and just stick it on, and you can swirl. For all I like dabbing with the sponges, you can swirl with the sponges. You can start off and bring the ink on to create a smoother look. But I quite like the splotchy effect of a dabbed sponge. I'm going to use the Old Olive next, my darker shade of green. Just use that ink to build up the colour. I think this technique works best when you've got a multicoloured background like this. And then I'm just going to blend those colours, those 2 greens, together with my sponge. Get some green edges going, like that. And then I've got my Tempting Turquoise, just to add a bit of colour variation. On the original one I used Elegant Eggplant, Perfect Plum and Pink Pirouette. Rub that, get that ink all smoothed out there. And so then I have a very quickly sponged background. Isn't that lovely? I love that. I love those colours together. I think they're beautiful. So then I need craft white, wisp white pigment ink and a sponge dauber, and I want to make sure this one stays white ink, so I've put a bit of white label on just so I remember not to pick it up and use it for a colour, because for all I have a sponge for every colour, I've actually only got 5 ink daubers at the moment. So I've then got, this is actually the backing of your clear stamps. You could just as easily use a piece of window sheet or acetate, and I have taken a circle punch and punched 3 holes in, and you could use whatever kind of circle punches you like. You could do some really small ones and some really big ones, and I've actually seen some really cool bokeh techniques that I've used flowers, hearts, etc. Butterflies is really nice, but I thought we'd stick with circles for today. Right, open my ink pad, and so this acts as a mask. So if we pop our smallest circle, and then I'm just going to dab the ink through that circle, and the more of the white ink you put on, the whiter it becomes, if that's not a stupid thing to say. So I put quite a bit of ink into the smaller circles and less ink when I'm doing bigger circles. So let's get that ink on. The other thing about craft ink, Whisper White craft ink, is it takes a little while to dry. So you do want to kind of leave this and come back to it. It will dry eventually with a heat tool, but it might take a little while. And as it dries, the ink becomes less white. You can see as well that my mask is picking up the craft ink, and you just go over it over and over and over, putting on as many circles as you like. Like that. And I'm now going to leave this to dry, and by the magic of YouTube, I click my fingers. I could do click fingers, couldn't I? And it could all be magically dry, but I'm going to go and I'm going to leave it for a little bit, and I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, so now that that's dry, I've got my stamp and my Pear Pizzazz ink. I'm going to ink it up and stamp it off once, and just stamp it across that piece. so that then we have that effect. Isn't that so pretty? Now I've also got a piece of old olive cardstock that measures 2 inches by 3.5, and normally I'd put the sentiment on this, but because I haven't got a sentiment in mind, I'm going to stamp another floral in old olive on old olive cardstock. Just get that inked up really well on there. I'm going to punch that out with my scalloped tag topper punch. And then we can pop this card together. So, bit of snail just on the back of that inky piece. And just like that. It's still a little bit tacky in places, but that's okay. And then I've got some dimensionals for the back of this one. So that's 1, 2, 3. Straight onto the front of there, and then a piece, just a bit of the Whisper White baker's twine. I'll put both the ends together, straight through the hole in the tag and back up through. Just like that, and that is my bokeh effect stamped card. Go and check out my blog, links in the down bar below, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.